Welcome back, everyone. Today we are talking about the fourth benefit that I see when it comes to podcasting, especially when you launch and host your own podcast. In the last 3 days, we already covered three amazing benefits, and today is going to be about creativity. I truly believe that having your own podcast is such a beautiful playground for your creativity. And if you're thinking right now, like, yeah, but I'm not such a creative person, let me tell you, you're wrong. And I don't like to make absolute statements, but this is something I firmly believe because we are all creative beings. You and I, we are an artist. I think oftentimes we have bought into this idea that, only people that are these amazing painters or singers or people that doing sculptures, that this is what an artist is. But you and I, every single person on planet Earth has a very unique gift. And we need play. This is why I like to call it a playground for creativity, where you experiment, where you try things out. It's in a way an invitation to find yourself, your own voice. And it takes time. And this is why, for me, my podcasting journey has been so amazing because it has really allowed me to get clarity on a lot of things that I didn't have clarity on before, right? What are some topics that I love to talk about? What are some topics that are maybe more like a meh? And I thought I should talk about, but it's not really for me. And where is my zone of genius and all these things? And also through different conversations and the style of the podcast episodes, right? And this platform has allowed me as a human, as a business entrepreneur, to grow, to evolve, and also to change. Because one thing for me that I also think to some extent is probably true to all humans is that we need some variety. I crave with variety. I need it. I love it. I like it. I also like stability, right? So my podcast is the stability, is the structure. We talked about this on day one when I talked about accountability and some more masculine energy, right? Where I have this consistency for me to show up on a regular basis. But then now within that, I get to play, I get to go with my own flow, where I switch up what I talk about. I have also practiced so much on my communication skills, and I'm still working on it. All these filler words, constantly repeating yourself. I still do that. But if I listen to an episode today and an episode like 3 years ago, it's a huge difference. So, yeah, it takes time, you know? And I have also changed a lot on my podcast. I changed the name several times of this podcast. And you know what? While there was a part of me also judging myself for it, like that's who I am. That's what my process is. And a lot of people in my audience can often relate to a multi-passionate nature. Like I said, I love variety. I consider myself a multi-passionate, highly sensitive, introverted, highly empathic person. Like, let's give us all the labels in the world, right? And again, my podcast has been able to carry all of this. And I'm even now in a process again where I'm finding even more focus on this journey. And you know what? There may be another change coming. Who knows? So, this is an invitation for you to really think about a podcast in a different way because maybe you are just thinking, yeah, I have to have a podcast, because I want to have a business and that's what you do. I actually want to invite you to think about yourself right now. Do it for you. And you may be like, well, but am I here to be of service to people? I'm here to help people, so I should focus on that. Yes, that's true, but think about it. The more you love what you're doing, the more you are in your zone of genius, the more you are in your unique creativity, being your most authentic self. That's the biggest contribution you're here to make in this world. And that's going to benefit the most amount of people. And let me share something with you from human design that I have learned. There is a channel that goes from the G center to the throat center. It's called the 1A channel, and if you're just using the numbers of the gates right now. And gate one, or the first gene key, is all about what we're talking about today, creativity, which basically means that every human has this energy. It doesn't matter if you have this defined or undefined, by the way. If it's undefined in your chart, that gate, you tend to learn this more through your environment, through the people you're around. But we are all here to learn this. And out of your identity, who you are, and we are all meant to be different. That's the beautiful thing that human design has taught me over the years, how we are unique from each other. And I know it's so hard sometimes for us because we live in a world where we try to fit in. And that's the same in business, right? We're always like, yeah, there are all these proven processes. That's what people are doing, that it's how it's meant to be. When even doing a podcast, I think is mainly being taught about, well, let's use it as a way to get more clients, to create more revenue, as a strategy tool. And that is all great and makes a lot of sense. But if that's the only purpose it has, I think we're really missing the point. So I'm really showing you here a whole nother perspective of what a beautiful tool of self-discovery and exploration a podcast is. So with that gate one, your creativity comes from your identity, who you are, very unique. And then that gate one flows to gate eight. It's always looking to that. And that gate, that energy is all about contribution. And it says that the biggest contribution you're here to make to this world is to be your most authentic self. So oftentimes when people ask me, well, but what is my purpose? What does my human design chart say? Yes, there are very specific elements and very specific energies, but your purpose is always to be your most authentic self, right? Where you're not holding back, where you're dropping all the masks and everything. And I also think that when we are expressing ourselves, and because this gate comes off the throat center, it's about self-expression. The more you do that, which a podcast can really, really help you with, especially when you show up consistently and do it over and over and over again. What I believe happens is that your purpose finds you. The purpose is not something that you have to chase, that you have to make happen. Be who you are and allow yourself to magnetize all of that into your life, and also the people that are meant to be working with you, that are meant to be listening to you, and all that stuff. Because the more you're being who you are, people feel that they can sense that. You probably know this, right? When you're listening sometimes to certain things in the internet or maybe even on podcasts, like you can probably smell from very far away what is kind of fakey, inauthentic, and then what is something really real. Like, what are you drawn to? And I think that in today's age, again, with the technology and everything, being authentic is more important than ever. So, and again, I think your creativity is gonna start to spark so much. I cannot tell you like how many things I have created over the last 3.5 years as I have been on my podcast journey. And the inspirations I have received, if that was from guests I was talking to, or also this one skill that I never thought was accessible to me, that when I allowed myself to fully relax and just talk with an intention, like I'm doing right now, I couldn't even tell you later on what I was talking about, but it was quite magical because I just let it flow through me. Like I'm a vessel for higher consciousness and I have a message to share with humanity. It's not like it was coming from me. I allowed it to come through me as the vessel. And I think that also has a lot to do with creativity. And I think when you talk to people, that are painters and things, they cannot explain to you like how they did it. They just let it happen. They let their hand move, or they let the words be written on a piece of paper and hear you speaking with your voice. And the really cool thing is that, after I record this podcast episode with these amazing tools we have today with AI and all these beautiful softwares, with a click of a button, I can create a transcript from this. I can write a blog post, an article, social media post, and all of that, all from my unique voice. So this is also in terms of content creation, all your creativity from one piece of spoken content from a podcast, it's going to make your life so much easier. And I'm also personally a person that when it comes to texting, I always do so much better at sending voice messages. That was also one of the reasons why I was like, I think podcasting is something that's going to be really, really good for me. Maybe that's different for you, but I think that when we use our voice, it's much easier for us also to really get out of the head and stop the overthinking and just let it flow and then let ourselves be surprised of the magic and the creativity that is coming through us. So, with that, my intention is to inspire you and remind you that you are a creative being. And yeah, maybe it is for you as well, the podcast. And you may think right now, yeah, what is she talking about? She has been doing this for 3.5 years already. Like, you think about getting started, maybe you feel a little bit disempowered there because I know it's hard to get started. But that's how it started for me. Like, at some point, I made that decision to start. And there were all these people out there that already had podcasts for years and years. And I'm like, I don't know how I'm ever going to get there. But now I have to tell you, it feels like yesterday when I started my podcast. And yesterday I was thinking, like, well, it's almost 4 years that I have been doing my podcast. It's flying, it's going so fast. You have no idea. The key is to get started and then, of course, to keep going. But if you're not going to get started, you will never know, right? And I think oftentimes we keep waiting and waiting, and we always tell ourselves, I'm not ready, I'm not ready. But if you have this feeling in your body right now, like, she's really talking to me, I have been thinking about a podcast for quite some time. I know I can find a million excuses why now is not the time, or I'm busy, I have all these other things to do. It's probably going to be the same in 6 months from now. And in 6 months from now, you will like likely thinking, oh, I wish I would have done it 6 months ago already. Right? So if this is you, Easy Podcast Launch 2.0 with Sia, it's going to be an amazing 12-week journey. We have bi-weekly calls. We go nice and slow. I show you also all the tech stuff in a very easy way. And there's going to be a community where you can ask any and all questions. One of the live calls is also solely to answer all of your tech questions. And you will be able to launch a podcast on a very small budget because there are most softwares and tools are actually for free. And also the equipment that you need does not have to be super fancy. I started out with the most basic stuff and it was absolutely fine, absolutely sufficient. And then later on, you can get always more fancy. Obviously, the sky's the limit. Like, I haven't reached it yet, I don't have a fancy recording studio. I see now people that record podcasts outside. That's a goal of mine. I love that so much because I love nature so much. And yeah, maybe one day it's going to happen. So there's so much you can evolve into with the podcast that's going to be your baby. So with that, all the details are going to be in the show notes. Want to also remind you that early bird pricing is through the end of day of August 15th. And remember, you are a beautiful creative being. And yeah, a podcast may really help you to bring this out more into the world. So your voice, your unique perspectives can impact more people. And let me tell you, there are more people than you can probably think of right now that desperately need your message. With that, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we will be back tomorrow with benefit number 5. Ciao, everyone.